Hey there, YouTube. It's Tuck. It's February 8th, 2019. And I just walked into a Mandela effect. You know, Mandela effect, people think that, like, we're caught in a time displacement situation where things change. Things that we remember from back in the past are not the same as they are today. Like, everybody knows that in Star Wars, Luke, I am your father. Well, no. Everybody knows that's what he says, but even James Earl Jones says that that's what he says. But in the movie, it says, no, I am your father. In Star Wars, that's what it says. No, I am your father. That's it. Not Luke. Alright? And we all know that in Snow White it says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Alright? No, it doesn't. It says, magic mirror on the wall. Listen, it never said magic mirror on the wall. I don't care what anybody says. It said mirror, mirror on the wall. Listen. My Aunt Marion used to read me those little golden books every single night. One every night. Every single night when she put me to bed. I lived with my Aunt Marion on Phillip Street. And I'm telling you, she read me one of them every night, and it was Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Alright? Peter Pan was my favorite. That was the one I always requested. But she read me all of them. We had those little golden books. We had Aunt Marion had 100 of them. So, we had all the stories, all the nursery rhymes, all the Mother Goose, all of that. The golden books. And it was mirror, mirror on the wall. Not magic mirror. I watched all them Disney cartoons. I recited them. I could recite most of them back to you as they're playing. And it was mirror, mirror on the wall. And it was Luke, I am your father. It was. Alright? Ed McMahon and Publishers Clearinghouse, everybody remembers. If you're my age, even younger, a little younger, you remember Ed McMahon coming to the houses with that big check from Publishers Clearinghouse. You remember it. It was a commercial. It was on 200 times a day. Publishers Clearinghouse never had anything to do with Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon was never involved with Publishers Clearinghouse at all. That's their statement. Ed McMahon was never affiliated, was never in a commercial, never did anything with Publishers Clearinghouse. That is the story today. I remember Johnny Carson going on the David Letterman show and saying, hey, Ed couldn't make it tonight, so he asked me to give you this. And he handed David Letterman one of those real big checks. Now, if Ed McMahon didn't have anything to do with that, why did Johnny ask Dave Letterman? Now, you're not going to find Ed McMahon talking about Publishers Clearinghouse anyway. But you'll hear other people talking about Ed McMahon and Publishers Clearinghouse, referring to it. But Publishers Clearinghouse wiped Ed McMahon from their memory. Or the Mandela effect did it. I just went to a doctor's appointment. Alright? The doctor looked at me and said, can I help you? I've been going to this doctor every month since August. I've been in the building because I had to go and do a pickup halfway through the month. For the past 3 months, I've had to go twice a month. Every 2 weeks, every 14 days. I've had to go. I've had conversations with the people. I mean, if you know me, you know that I said something that somebody going to remember. Well, guess what? They told me, well, it's too late. You can't come, like, you had an 8 o'clock appointment. An 8:15 appointment. Listen to me. I used to work 7 to 3. I would leave work at 3 p.m., take a bus over there, ride my bike from the bus station to the doctor's appointment, get there at 4 or like 3 minutes to 4, 5 minutes to 4, 4 o'clock, a minute or two after, and go in for my appointment. My first appointment going there. That's what I had to do. My first one I did. The last 2 months or 2.5 months I had to do half. I had to go twice. Money reasons. It cost me $180 every month to go. Unless I split it up, then it only cost me $100 at a time. So they get me for $200 instead of $180 a month. And I had to pay cash. They looked at me like I had never been there after 9 a.m. I have never walked in there prior to 10:30 in the morning. Ever. Not once. Not once. Not even the first time I went there. I was never there before 10:30 in the morning. They looked at me like it was like I was making this up. And I'm telling you right now, I looked this woman in the eye who I have had conversations. She's taken my pulse. She's taken my blood pressure. We've joked and laughed. Christmas time, we had a very long conversation, the one right before Christmas. I had a very long conversation with her. She looked me in the eye as if I did not exist. She had never seen me before. And then I said, is there any way we can rectify this? She looked at me, and with the most professional face in the world, she went, without a word, just, that's what I got. In a doctor's office. That I gave $180 cash, $200 cash for the past 2.5, 3 months. Every month. And my insurance is paying for my prescription. My insurance is paying for some of the doctor's visit. I have insurance. It's paying for it. I'm paying cash too. And I get this. What the fuck is going on? How does that... Listen, I met a lot of people in my life. I've run into a lot of people. And I'm going to tell you, if I ran into you before, I know that I ran into you before. If I had long, drawn-out conversations with you, guess what? When I see you again, we're probably going to have a long, drawn-out conversation. I'm not going to act as though you don't exist unless you're an asshole. But if you're an asshole or a slacker or asleep with no chance of waking up, not understanding the gist, well, you're definitely going to think I'm an asshole. But if you got your foot on the gas a little bit, you ain't got to be doing a million on the freeway. If you got your foot on the gas a little bit, you got your head up a little bit, you're not going to think I'm so much of an asshole. You're not. Because I'm really not an asshole. The only people that think I'm an asshole are people that could do a lot better. Deserve more. But don't give a shit about it. Just don't care. Don't understand. They bought in completely. Well then, yeah. You're going to think I'm an asshole. you're definitely going to think I'm an asshole. But believe me, it's not because I am, in fact, an asshole. It's because I'm angry that I see potential and you don't. And it's absolutely 100% necessary that you do see it immediately. So yeah, I get a little harsh with people. And I'm just downright intolerable with some others. It's people with a lack of humility. None. Have no humility. Somebody says this, when you're telling somebody something and they're agreeing with you, and they say, "No, I was doing this," or "No, I know. No, I know. No, you're right. No, you're right. No, you're right. You are." They are disagreeing with you and telling you to go F yourself with that no at the beginning. That is absolutely where your mind goes when you start a sentence with no and agree. You're automatically on a bipolar, not mental case, but mentally, but not psychosis. You know, it's not a medical problem. It's the way your brain works. It's the way it operates. It sets up two poles. And that's how the human brain works. We always think, normally, we think in 2 points. The good and the bad, the black and the white, the east and the west, the Flyers and the Red Wings, you know what I mean? The Patriots and the Rams, the Eagles and it doesn't matter. We always think in two. And because the media and the scientists and the psychiatrists and the psychologists that put together came up and figured out how the human brain works, they make everything that way. They push the two poles. When in actuality, there's never two poles. There's me, there's you, there's the weather, there's the ground, there's the noise around us, there's this person, this person. There's never just two. Never. And they exploit the human brain by putting two out there. And it's always two. Republicans and Democrats. It's always two. Always. Right wing and left wing. Conservatives and liberals. Always two. But it's not two. The world is not two. The world is not two. The world is one. Us out here. The people that make it go, we're one. We're going to win. Eventually. We're going to suffer more than anything you've ever imagined. Your mind can't even go to the depth of suffering we're going to go through. You're not going to get it. And if you're asleep at the wheel, probably not going to see any of it. Whether it happens when you're around or not. You gotta get your head right, get your mind right, get your body right. Because I'm telling you right now, some days I wake up and I really do believe that we woke up in a parallel dimension or a different universe, because some people in the reality I live in just don't seem to really be people. They literally seem like drones. They just go about the motions of life. You ask them a question about anything, and they don't even know what the weather is. How do you not know what it's like outside if we're outside? That's scary. But that's where we live. It bothers me. It bothers me real big. I have some good people, man. You know, I work with some good people. I do. I know a lot of good people that are just incapable of taking that one more step to truly understand that if nobody wanted this world to be this evil, corrupt place, it wouldn't be that way. All right? That's as far as their minds will go. They don't look at that and say, well, if nobody wanted it, it wouldn't be. So that means that somebody does want this. Because it is. It's happening. If nobody wanted it to happen, it wouldn't happen. Do you understand? Somebody wants it to happen. And they're making us believe that they're not doing it. They got almost all of you thinking that they're not pulling all of the strings. Listen, I don't have a big team wrapped around me doing all the calculations and all the figures and everything the way they do. But I know I could plant a seed on Monday that by next Friday it'll benefit me. And I do it. I absolutely do it. I know I could plant seeds on Monday and I can have you hating me by Friday without saying another word. I do it. It's manipulation. They do it on a grand scale. They do it with our music. They did it with MTV with my generation. Michael Jackson. Listen, if it wasn't true, there would not have been a bunch of little white kids walking around in the suburbs with their clothes backwards. Let's keep it real. Not a racist statement, it's a real statement. It never would have happened if MTV didn't exist. Because them little white kids never would have seen them little black kids doing it. Because at the time when that came out, Philly was damn near segregated. None of us would have seen it. And Crisscross from my area, supposedly. Will Smith, all them. They're all down there, East Coast family. Remember all that? Bobby Brown, New Edition, all that. Ralph Tresvant. Bobby Brown. Ricky Bell. Michael Bivins. Ronnie DeVoe. Johnny Gill. Albie Shore. All them cats. Hey, Tuck remembers some stuff. All them drugs. My mind didn't lose a step. You guys stayed clean. And your brains are warped. Maybe the programming didn't work on me because I was getting high. I don't know. But I feel like I'm the outsider. I feel like I'm the enemy. And nobody gets it. I am not your enemy. I want you to wake up and see that there's people that are trying to freaking kill us. They're absolutely trying to kill us. And as soon as you're not profitable, you're dead. Why do you think they imprison people that are in debt? Because they ain't making money. You owe money. They ain't making money on you no more. If you stop paying, they come get you. We're deconstructing America. They keep telling us the population's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, yet they're tearing down all these buildings. And they're not putting bigger buildings. They're putting very small buildings with a lot less offices in it. Where are all the people? There was people that filled all them offices. All right? They're telling us unemployment's what? 10%? Something? I don't know. I don't even listen to what they say. It will probably be 9%, 13%, 16%, 11%, 19%, something like that. That's what it probably is. That's the official record. That's probably what it is. I don't know. But I bet if you go and look on the website or whatever, you'll see it'll be 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, 18, 6. There's 6s and 9s permeating. I guarantee you. I don't have to look. I know it is because they're all made up numbers. All right? Where the hell are all the people that used to fill all of these houses? Go drive out through the country. It's all dilapidated houses. Go drive through all the cities. It's all dilapidated houses. It's all empty lots. It used to be filled lots with houses. People in them houses. Where'd the people go? Huh? The structures were there. If our population's going up so much, right? Why are the buildings remaining empty? Not businesses, homes. All right? Drive through any community, any one of these developments, and you will find empty homes in all of these communities. If our population's increasing and going through the roof so much, where the hell are all the people at? Why ain't these homes filled? There ain't enough high rises left to fill all the people. They knock them all down and put low rises. They don't want nobody up high enough to be able to look around and see what's going on a mile away. That's why the only good view you'll ever get in an office building is of the river or the building next to you. They don't want you looking out over the land. They really don't. The vast plain that we live on. Terra firma. Firma. Not rotata. Firma. The world is just going crazy. And I love it. I love what the world can be. I see it. I understand it. I think about it. I live on one of the worst streets in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Alright? I live on Hudson Street. Anybody in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, you can go on Citizens Voice or whatever. You can go on their web, you can go on, in the newspaper, Citizens Voice or what's the other one? I forget the other one. I don't read them. There's nothing in there true. Anyway. You could check in my streets once or twice a month. In the first or second page to the street I live on, and it's only 2 blocks. It's 2 blocks long. And twice a month, something goes on. It's down the other end of the street. But I'm going to tell you this, right? Even down there, if they were well informed, if we were well informed, I believe that they can make a great community. I believe that if our controllers pulled money away, right? I believe that those guys down there would stop selling drugs. If money didn't exist and people didn't use it as a control mechanism, those guys wouldn't sell drugs anymore. They won't poison our community. They don't bring drugs into this community. Heroin is cheaper than marijuana. 7 or 8 times cheaper. depending on the quantities you buy. And that's at my level. I don't know how much cheaper it is up at the top level. But I'll tell you right now, I can make a lot more money on heroin right now than you can on pot, because it is 7 times cheaper than pot. It is absolutely cheaper, and a $10 bag is still a $10 bag. Do you understand? All right. You can get maybe 25 $20 bags, right? Out of an ounce of pot. $275 ounce pot. Good pot. $250, say. You get 25 out of $250. Alright? So it's $500. Alright, so you double your money. Right? You can get 50 $10 bags of heroin for $75. 50 for $75. You could sell them for $5 a piece in 20 minutes. And make $250. You only paid $75 for them. Do you understand how much more profitable it is? Why is heroin cheaper than pot? In a free society. Poppies don't even grow here. They have to be imported from the country we occupy. Us in Britain. We occupy Afghanistan, Thailand, Vietnam, Turkey. Why? Germany. Because they're the highest poppy producing countries in the world. It's not about guns, oil, and drugs. It's about all of them. That's God to them. Guns, oil, drugs. And then you have to add the C for the complex. Corrections. That's the government industry. That's the military-industrial complex. Guns, oil, drugs, and corrections. That's the God complex. That's what's going on. That's who's in control. And the United Nations is in charge of it. Openly. And Israel, the Zionist Jews from Israel. Not just Jewish people. I have Jewish friends. I know some good Jewish people. I had a buddy back in Philly, Izzy, Jewish kid. Go back and forth all the time about all this stuff. I love him. It's my friend. I have a friend Jay, right? Who was a Muslim, his family from Tunisia, right? He was really a Muslim. From Tunisia, right? I love him. I love him. Don't call me anti-Semitic. I'm not. I'm anti-asshole. I'm anti-anybody that tries to impose your shit on someone else. I'm anti-bully. Don't impose your shit on someone else. Impose the truth on everyone. Because you can't build a society on unsteady, unstable foundation. And there's nothing more unstable than a lie. Man, I lied a lot. I lied so much. For no reason. Just because. Because I was insecure. Whatever. Whatever the cause. Whatever. Because I was alone. Alright? Because I was lonely. Because I was scared. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I did it. And it was wrong. And I lied because nothing made sense. Now, I only tell the truth because nothing makes sense. And it makes me the villain. Because I don't talk about what I would like it to be. I talk about what it is. I say exactly what it is. You could add your narrative to it. All right, you could add adjectives. I'm giving you nouns and verbs. Add your adjectives. We could fix this in one generation, man. You just have to point the guns the other direction. That's all. Point the guns in the other direction. And they'll stop. They live off of us. They're not creative at all. They live off of our creativity. Our intellectual capacity. That's what they thrive on. They can't make anything. All they can do is take what we've created and distort it. And that goes for everything. They take all the good that we've done in the world, and to suit their agenda, they tell the story 180 degrees backwards and make everybody the villain. Everybody but them, they're the victim. Listen, if one culture is always the victim, every story tells us that they're always the victim. Everybody else's story is that they've been kicked out of 100 countries. They keep getting kicked out. Listen, if you go to work, right, and this guy, right, gets in an argument with Shelly and Dave and Maria and Joe and Bill, alright? If that guy got in arguments with them guys, with them and them women, it's not them guys and them women. That's not the problem. The problem's that guy. Alright? Now that guy owns the media. Right? So he prints in his newspaper how he's always the victim. These people are always, they're anti-guyite. Alright? That's what's going on with a certain particular group of people. And it's illegal to say anything about it. It's against the law now. Eventually, if this video lasts, I'm going to go to prison for it. Eventually. Because we're not allowed to say this stuff on YouTube. You're not allowed to talk about the Jays. You're not allowed to talk about the Israelites. The Jews. You're not allowed. It's against the law. It really is. Anti-BDS law. I'm absolutely breaking the law right now. But I don't want nothing to do with them. They're no good. the Zionist Jews in charge are no good. The Jewish faith, us, out here in the world, we're not them. We're not them. We're all we got. The guy that lives 2 doors down from you that goes to the synagogue, right? He's not the problem. But they got us believing he is, and he's the only one. Right? The black kid down the street, right? Right? Doing it, he's have his pants sagging down, right? With the rap music blazing. He's not the problem. He's not. He only became a problem after NWA. Prior to that, it was all love and peace. De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Arrested Development. It was all that. Even Digital Underground, where Tupac came from. Well, he came up through Digital Underground. They were all about love. Wasn't no shooting and bang bang and blunts 40s and big titty bitches. Wasn't none of that jumping off. None of that. Wasn't until, what's his name, Heller, the Zionist Jew, propped up by Leor Cohen, the biggest man in rap music, because he's like 6'7" Jew, devil. He's a devil. He is financially and physically raped every artist he took to #1. Physically and mentally and creatively. He's raped them monetarily. Took everything they had. All of them. Except for the one that buys out completely. One. But he will do it to him eventually. Jay-Z. He's going to do it to him eventually. He already did it to 50. He's going to do it to him too. He turns these dudes out and then sends them back into the public. Sends them right back into the society. Beautiful. They weren't acting like that in the mid-'80s. These kids, they weren't gangsters. They weren't. They took their medals off. They took their African medallions off, right? And put on a big gold chain with bling bling with guns crossed on it. It used to say Kemet. Which is what Africa really is. It's Kemet. Africa is a name that the Roman Catholic Pope gave to Africa. What, 300 years ago? 250 years ago? Africa is bad. Africa, the definition of Africa is a bad thing. It's horrible. It's not Africa, it's Kemet. It was always Kemet. It's going to be Kemet. Because Africa is a made-up word, and all it does is slam anybody from there. The population of Africa is black is white predominantly. Our history was told in reverse. Look at the population of Africa. Indigenous Africans. All north and all the south is Caucasian. There's only a strip of dark-skinned people across the middle. I'm not making it up, it's just the facts. You know? It was all Tartaria. It's even referenced in Moby Dick. Tartarians. Talking of very large people. Very large, very intelligent people that controlled nature. They had control over nature. Our society is built upon the backs of giants. Nothing is metaphor. Nothing is metaphor, and a vacuum cannot exist without a barrier or a container. It can't. A vacuum cannot exist without a container. So if there's no lid on top of us, there's no air pressure if space is a vacuum. I know it's scattered, but it's truth. I'm all over the place, but I'm getting ready to go to work, and I'm a little aggravated about the doctor. They're telling us that at some indeterminate altitude, there's no lid, but air turns into a vacuum of space with no container at all. Gravity increases the closer you get to the ground, according to the theory of gravity. So that means I could put a vacuum tube on the ground and take the lid off, and it'll stay vacuumed. It'll still have vacuum at the bottom of the tube with no lid on it, as long as I keep it standing upright. Can't use gravity way out there if it's not as strong. If gravity's strong enough to hold it in up there, and it's stronger at the ground, it is at its strongest, gravity has its most force at the ground level, then it should hold that vacuum there better than up there. Because that's your science. Pseudo bullshit science is what you're practicing. It's a religion. It's a cult. Because that's not scientific. Not at all. You need a container to have a vacuum. Air pressure always goes from greater to lesser. It never goes from lesser to greater. And it just doesn't. If you have a container and it's in a vacuum, you suck all the air out, all the way out, and you seal it. Alright, so you have a container. Now there's a vacuum in that container. If you pull a little hole in it, what happens? It goes from greater to lesser. More air is never going to rush in. It can't. It lets its pressure out. It lets air come in, and it equalizes with the air around it. Correct? It's never going to pressurize itself. It can't. No more air is going to go in there. But that's the theory of space in the vacuum. Because they fly through it, right? Rockets fly straight up through it, right? If they fly straight up through it, that means there's no lid. You're telling me gravity does that. Okay, gravity's strongest at the bottom, down closer to the ground. So we should be able to do it down here and demonstrate it. Use the scientific method. You have to be able to observe it. Measure it. And repeat it. That's the scientific method. If you can't do all three of those things, it is not science. Science says so. I'm not making it up. You have to use the scientific method in order to call something science. Every test, every single test to ever prove that the earth is moving has failed and detected zero motion. We do not move. We are fixed and immovable, just like it says in the Bible. Just like it says in every old text. Only in the 1900s did all the texts say we're doing this. And every time somebody comes in, what do? Anytime somebody comes in and wants to take over a culture, what do? They burn the books, and that's what they did. Look how many book burnings there were in our history. Why do you think that is? Because they were getting rid of all the truth. And putting their belief for you. The belie. Belie. They are entering a factor. Just one factor. All right? They're putting it into the equation. The factor does not have to be true. It doesn't have to be a lie either. It could be whatever. It could be true. It could be a lie. It could have half truth, half lie. It doesn't matter. They're entering in. They're taking something out. They're taking out what actually happened. Boop. All right? And they are inserting a story. All right? It's made up. It's not true because we know that it's not true. Some of it might be true, but it's not what actually happened. It could have. It could have happened, but it didn't happen. All right? It's just a thought experiment. It's a big what if. What if, instead of that, this, then where would that have led? That's what they did. That's how they do our history. And then you have a group of people who say, all right, well, if this is where we're starting from, what would be the next natural course of events on this area? What would be the next natural course of events in that area? What would be this? Social, economic, community, all different avenues that you can go from that story. It doesn't have to be a lie, and it doesn't have to be the truth. Belie means you're taking out what actually happened, and you're inserting what could have happened, what is possible. It's possible. But the problem is it's so improbable that those things happened. It's so improbable that it's astronomical that we're told the truth. All right? And then everything stemmed off of that. They imposed their belie. And here we are with it, trying to live through it. Trying to wake up on the right side of the dirt. If you love people, tell them you love them. Because the world ain't big as you think it is. And with the real shavers just moving. Well, go outside. Use your God-given senses. Question everything. Because you deserve to know the truth. It's your God-given right. You were given dominion over the plants and animals. Freely. He sent his son down here so you can't be punished for all the wrongs. We're the victims. All the citizens. We're the victims of their oppressive regime. And that's tough. It's the way I see it.